the influence of the environment on the dynamics of the subsystem has two components: a random force that the environment exerts on the small system and a friction force. So, for example, in a particle in a fluid system, we had the friction force to be minus alpha v, and the random force we had as minus we had as zeta. So the friction force is a feedback that describes the response of the environment to the dynamics of the subsystem. So basically, when the particle moves at some velocity v, the surrounding environment responds to that particle by exerting a force in the direction opposite to it. So this response of the environment is not in general instantaneous but is retarded. The environment keeping the memory of the past dynamics of the subsystem. So basically, when we say it is retarded, it means it depends on the past. So there is some dependence of past value. So in recent times, they have made developments in particle tracking, and those allow for the measurement of this random force theta on the colloidal particles, therefore providing the first experimental tests of theoretical models for the memory of the environment based on hydrodynamic computation. Uh, however, they couldn't exactly get the relation of this with the previous memory, basically that the retarded component. So this paper here describes algorithms to extract those memory kernels. So these memory kernels are actually just components from the past. So they are usually integrals over the values of previous values of this function. So they have developed an algorithm to calculate the molecular dynamics situations. Sorry, to extract memory kernels from these simulations. So they illustrate these algorithms on a simple case. So mainly the Brownian motion of a particle in a Lennard-Jones fluid. Maurice-Zwanzig formalism is just central paradigm in statistical mechanics theory of recent times. So it is a procedure where a dynamic system is reformulated as a lower dimensional system for a selected set of variables. So we will call those selected set of variables as resolved variables. So the resulting system is usually called a generalized Langevin system. A generalized Langevin equation which has memory. So it contains an integral over the past values of these resolved, that is the variables we chose to project on, and it contains a time-dependent function, or usually that's interpreted as noise, which depends on the full initial data, and it solves an auxiliary equation known as the orthogonal dynamic equation. So I'm just giving some backdrop for this Maurice-Zwanzig prediction, which is not there in this paper. So within an appropriate probabilistic setting, the noise function can be viewed as a random process. So we'll see a practical application of this prediction in a case of diffusion of a charged particle in a fluid, and use its momentum as the relevant variable. So we use P for a capital P for the generic relevant set of variables we are going to project our main function on. So an observable B is a phase space function of the atomic positions, that is Q, and momenta P. So here we consider a Hamiltonian system, and these equations are our normal Hamiltonian equations. And so the value of observables B, which are denoted as such, it evolves according to the Liouville equation. So this Liouville operator is actually the uh, Poisson bracket with the Hamiltonian here. So we can formally integrate this equation to give rise to this. So dt is equal to e power I L t of b naught. So why are we using this Mori's one? So Mori's one side. So the purpose of this is to express this evolution of B only in terms of the relevant variable P instead of the full phase space Q comma P. So we are reducing the number of dependent variables. So for that we bring in this projector operator P that is defined in this space of the observables. So we also have one more operator Q which is equal to 1 minus P. So basically what this means is, say we have a observable K. So Q of K will be equal to K minus E of K. So now this Morris-Vanzig theory is based on this Dyson's operator relation, and here we simply substitute Q is equal to 1 minus P and we get this equation. So applying this relation to a change of another observable A, which evolves similarly according to this Liouvillean operator, we get this equation. So equation 5, so this equation describes the dynamics of A, so how A evolves as the sum of a systematic and a random contribution. So the systematic contribution is composed of a reversible term. So this is the reversible term, and this is the retarded term that involves the kernel. So both depend only on the evolution of the relevant variables P. So it does not depend on any other variable in the system. It only depends on the variables P we are projecting our function onto. So the third term in equation 8. So this last term accounts for the effect of other degrees of freedom which have been projected out. So basically, when we take a function and project it onto so when you take an empty space and you project it into a smaller space, you obviously have some loss of data, etc., something like that. So that particular term takes into account such things. So the construction of information renders the evolution of the term more difficult to apprehend. So we consider this to be random. So it's little tough to exactly understand how this evolves, etc. So we just keep it as random. So as mentioned, an efficient approach to the diffusion of a tag particle in a fluid is to consider its momentum as both the relevant variable P and the observable A. In that case, the time derivative of both quantities is the force acting on the particle, because it's the momentum, and when you differentiate with respect to momentum, you get force. And is equal to mkBT with m mass of the particle, kb Boltzmann constant, and T temperature. So in addition to the reversible term, equation 6 vanishes, and the term defined by equation 8 is a random force. So as we discussed, by analogy, we will refer to the following to F is equivalent to P dot, so basically derivative of P, and which in turn is equal to ILP. So basically from the Liouville equation we are getting this as force, and to average of P square as kinetic energy, even in the case of any generic variable. You note that in this case the memory kernel reduces to the autocorrelation function of the random force, as we will discuss further. Yeah. Okay, now projected correlation function. So the memory kernel k of t, so basically the integral over the past, that term, which determines the retarded contribution, the contribution from the past, involves the correlation function of the random term r and the derivative of the relevant variable p. So it differs from a standard time correlation function in the dynamics entering the correlation function. It's not the normal dynamics generated by Liouvillean IL, but one modified by the Mori projector and generated by IQL. So basically the operator we defined here. So such projected correlation functions can be defined for any pair of observables A and B as follows. But we cannot directly compute these functions from the observables along their trajectory. Because note that in particular this definition depends not only on the two variables but also on the choice of the relevant variable p via this operator. So this operator which is based on the projection operator uh, and because of that it will be dependent on the relevant variable p. Since the operators LPQ are Hermitian for the scalar product CD, that is the ensemble average of CD of observables, the projected correlation function can also be written as follows. Note that there's this inversion between Q and L in the propagator. So in this power term. We now discuss the two approaches to extract projected correlation functions by adopting complementary points of view corresponding to these two equations. So basically we are trying to calculate this correlation function using the projection operator. So let's introduce this observable B of t plus, that is this, which propagates the observable B forward in time during a time t according to orthogonal dynamics generated by IQL. So this coincides with B at time t equal to 0 because e power IL q0 will be 1 and evolves according to this equation. Similarly, we'll define AT minus. So this propagates A backwards in time during a time t according to the orthogonal dynamics. It coincides with A at t equal to 0 and it again evolves in a similar fashion but with the projection operator applied first before the Liouville. So the projected correlation function CAB of t can then be written as two different but seemingly usual correlation functions as follows. So in the following we introduce, so basically here we are saying a naught into bt plus. So basically it is similar to a of t into b of t plus tau, and here we are saying a of t into b of t minus t, which is b of 0. So now in the following sections, we'll introduce algorithms to compute this correlation function using two expressions. Then we'll discuss the properties of random noise because so that was one of the objectives that was specified in the beginning before turning to results from molecular dynamics. Okay, so first we'll just see the evolution of BT plus and AT minus before going back to the paper. So in order to compute the correlation CAB between these two observables, we'll introduce this BT plus tilde as e power minus LT BT plus, which is equal to this expression. The definition of CABT, which we saw before, can then be rewritten and we can apply the operators and we get this particular expression. So recall that this is the space point at time t from the initial space q comma p. So from the equation 11 up there, so from here we can say that yeah, yeah, we can say that this operator evolves as follows. So we have also used the fact that IL commutes with e power minus plus or minus ILT, where p tau is equal to e power IL tau p of e power minus IL tau. So it's a projection on the relevant variable p at time tau. So this can be shown by considering the action of p tau on an observable C as follows. So we are just applying this operator on observable C, and by remembering that e power ILT of p tau of q comma p is equal to p naught of q power tau p power tau is equal to p tau of q comma p. Since in addition we also have this result which we saw before again, it follows that this equation. So applying this to q of p is equal to, so we are just applying this to bring this operator into relevance. So bt tau plus of q comma p is equal to v naught of q comma p plus integral from 0 to t this expression. So this can be rewritten, and we can use this particular fact, and finally we get this equation. So this equation will be used in our calculations in the algorithms which we describe later. We can formulate the evolution of AT minus as well, and using similar uh, operations we can come across with this formula for the time evolution. Okay, now we will see forward orthogonal dynamics looking back. So first, as discussed before, we know that BET plus satisfies this equation. So then we write this expression at time t plus delta t and separate the integral between 0 to t on one hand and between t to t plus delta t on the other hand. So noting that for an observable d evolving under the normal dynamics, such as our projected variable p or the other observable v, we have d of t plus delta t of q comma p is equal to dt of q power delta t to p power delta t, and finally making the change of variable u to u minus t in the remaining integral. So this is what we'll obtain. So in principle, several numerical schemes can be used to discretize the integral. So the most simple explicit form is this. So basically we are doing a Taylor expansion of this. So it is this term, and then we have a term that consists of a dou t term. So basically this into dou t and plus O of dou t square. So this is easily implemented from a molecular trajectory of n trad steps as follows. The observables A, which we again saw before, the p variables, F the force, and Bt plus can be stored in 4 arrays as shown. So with M belonging to like 0 to n trad minus 1, so basically the all the time steps, and dou t being the time step of the dynamic simulation, and initially n will be 0. So the first three contain the value of A, P and F for each configuration along the whole trajectory, and it is never updated in the procedure. So this last equation evolves iteratively for n equal to 0 to n core minus 1, where n core is the length for which one wants to calculate the correlation. So since your correlation will be like a t and t plus x frame multiplication kind of thing, so you'll have a lesser number of data points for n core. So basically n core is less than n traj, less than, yeah, less than. uh, so we will have this initial value of b naught plus of m according to this, with beta of n equal to this summation of f naught pn plus by p naught of m the whole square. So this allows to reconstruct the evolution of bt plus from each configuration along the trajectory of the molecules and analyze its properties. So in particular, the memory kernel of CAB is calculated for t equal to n delta t. So basically the number of frames into delta t, and as the scalar product of arrays a naught and bn plus. So yeah, so this is just describing the product of these two arrays. So yeah, so this algorithm requires O of ntraj memory size, and the calculation time is O of ntraj into ncore. So similarly, whatever we did for B T plus, so T plus was the positive time function. Here we have AT minus, so that looks at the reverse time. So we have a similar analysis just like the one previously, and so this result we had from the appendix that we discussed before. So the projected correlation function is can then be uh, expressed as this expression. So that is the correlation function between AT minus and B at time t forward in time. So the value of AT minus at any particular state q comma p is updated according to this equation. Yeah, so similarly we create four arrays, and we do a similar calculation for calculating the correlation function, just like what we saw in the previous case. So upon evolution from t to t plus delta t, the arrays PNM, FNM, and BNM are appended by the instantaneous values of the property of the time derivative, that is the force, and of the observable B for the new configuration, while the oldest configuration is discarded. So these arrays will contain the values of P and P dot from time t plus delta t to time t plus NAV delta t. So the array an minus, which would be left untouched, is updated according to this formula. Yeah, so as with the previous method, in the case where p is the momentum of the particle, f is the force, and p square is proportional to the thermal energy. And the numerical accuracy is increased by computing this average from the instantaneous kinetic energy in the interval we are interested in, instead of the average temperature over the whole trajectory. So this algorithm similarly requires O of NAV memory size, and the calculation time is O of NAV into NCore, just like the previous case. Okay, to summarize whatever we have seen till now, so this paper has given us two original algorithms to compute the correlation function on the projected variables for any pair of observables. So the first algorithm, that is the forward orthogonal dynamics looking back, is based on forward orthogonal dynamics. So in this algorithm, we need to know the whole trajectory of the system in advance, and so this is implemented outside the simulation. But in the second algorithm, it uses a propagation of the observables backwards according to the adjoint of dynamics. So although this is less natural, it can be implemented alongside the molecular dynamics simulation. So now we'll see more on the random noise, the projected force, and the memory kernel. So let's assume a particular choice of observables A as the relevant variable P. Uh, so we know that F is equal to P dot, as we saw before. Then QF will be equal to F, and the random force RT is equal to e power I QLT into QF naught, which will be equal to the observable FT plus is equal to e power I QLT F naught. So this can be computed using forward orthogonal dynamics looking back scheme. So from here we can test some of the properties of the random force. So in particular, since initially R naught is equal to F naught, the memory kernel is that is defined by equation 7. So that is this, just back here. So here, and entering the GLE5 is equal to the autocorrelation function of the random force. So this is the form of the fluctuation dissipation theorem. So the above discussion and the introduction of this auxiliary observable allow us to compute explicitly the random force and its autocorrelation function as follows. So we can test other properties of this function too. So one is its stationarity, which does not follow immediately from stationarity of dynamics, since the evolution of the random force is not generated by the Liouvillein, and since Ft plus is evolved from the initial condition F naught at a finite time t in the past. So the stationarity of the noise of the autocorrelation function can be demonstrated as follows. So first you take the definition of this F naught plus Ft plus, which is this. So we are writing it in terms of the Q operator that we discussed before. And then with some transformations, we can see that F naught plus Ft plus is equal to average of Fu plus Ft plus U. So basically it means only the gap T is important here and not the start frame. So where we have also used that Q square is equal to Q. So we have used that result as well. So Markovian approximation and Einstein relation. So choosing A, again A as the relevant variable P, uh, we now consider the case where the memory kernel decays very fast compared to the time scale of interest. So then this simplifies to P dot of T is equal to minus gamma PT plus RT, where we introduce the friction coefficient gamma. In the case where the relevant variable is the momentum of a particle, so Einstein's relationship says that this gamma is related to the diffusion coefficient as follows. So expressions analogous to the Einstein relations can be obtained for P. Yeah. And velocity, force, and noise distributions. So limiting again ourselves to the case of momentum of a tag particle as the relevant variable P, the equilibrium distribution of the velocity arising from both the microscopic dynamics and the GLE should be Gaussian with the specified variance. In Markovian limit, the noise also follows a Gaussian distribution with variance R naught square is equal to m gamma kbt. In general, however, this may not be the case. In particular, the finite or long-term decay may result in fat tails in the distribution of the force and noise, while the velocity should follow the same Maxwell distribution. So we know that from this equation, so from equation 5, the difference P dot of T minus RT between the force and the noise is the sum of only terms involving the velocity, and hence it follows a Gaussian distribution. So basically going back to this equation again, so when you bring this R of T this side, so we will have only terms depending on the momentum. So even inside this integral and even outside the integral. So because of that, it will follow the same distribution as the velocity. So this suggests that the difference also may be Gaussian distributed in general, just like I said, as it is obvious in the Markovian limit, since this difference is simply minus gamma pt. Okay, so now we come to the statistical properties of the random force. So using the forward orthogonal dynamics looking back algo, we can construct from each point along the trajectory the projected force F plus for the subsequent times. So this will allow us to examine numerically several properties of the noise history. So the noise is the result of propagation of this QL operator from the normal force from time 0 to t. So from equation 28, so this one. Um, Yeah, the memory kernel is computed by correlating the noise after a delay t from each start point f0 f of t. Can also be computed from correlating the noise after a delay u and after a delay t plus u from each starting point as shown. As a result of stationarity demonstrated in equation 29 previously. So figure 3 compares this result of molecular simulations for two waiting times u. So here, yeah. So this figure clearly demonstrates that the computed noise autocorrelation function satisfies the stationary condition. Um, it is a numerical test of the stationarity and also indicates that the algorithm proposed is quite stable. So we can also analyze the distribution of the noise history from a single initial condition. So this figure reports the distribution together with the velocity and force distribution and that of the difference Pt minus Rt between force and noise. The velocity distribution is Gaussian with the expected variance kBt by m. The force and noise are markedly non-Gaussian with the fat tails as discussed before. A similar observation had been made by Shin et al. For a two-dimensional fluid. So interestingly, while both force and noise display fat tails, the difference is Gaussian with the approximately constant variance. So other observables, short and long range forces. So the methodology developed here by the paper allows us to estimate correlation functions for not only the force but also any pair of observables. We illustrate this ability on a particular choice of observables in order to gain insight into the origin of time dependence of the NACF. More precisely, since momentum transfer inside the fluid arises primarily from the short range repulsion between the particles, we choose observables we choose as observables the short range repulsive and the long range attractive parts of the Lennard-Jones potential according to this prescription. We have applied the two procedures here to the evolution of forces corresponding to both contributions. So the different contributions are shown in figure 5 here. Um, so it appears that the NACF is completely dominated by short range collisions. So we can further analyze relative contributions of short and long range projected forces to the friction given by the 31st equation here. One second. Yeah. So given by this friction coefficient, and the integrals of the correlation function in figure 5 and 6. So for the long range part, the normal and projected dynamics almost coincide. So the corresponding correlation functions will integrate to this friction coefficient that we discussed of. So we have a similar result. So yeah, conclusion. So as specified before, we developed two algorithms for the computation for correlation functions using projection operators.